Hey guys, so I'm back with another video, and in this video we are going to see how can we create onboarding steps UI in .NET MAUI. So we are going to build something like this. So this is on iOS. We have all these steps. So we have an image, some heading, some subheading, we have skip button, and we have this slider. We could go to the next steps, and at the final step we have this get started button, so which will lead us to the main page, the main screen of the app. And same thing is on Android emulator, so we can go for next slides, and on the last slide we have this get started button. So we are going to implement this using .NET MAUI. So let's get started. So first thing, we'll create our .NET MAUI app. Continue. I have created this project and I'm running it in Android simulator. So let's continue. First of all, we don't need all this, so we could simply remove everything from here, and then we need to remove it from code behind as well. We don't need this, and we don't need this count. So after that, first thing, we need to make, if you look the app we are creating, this one, we have three parts for this. So first one is this image, then this heading, and then this subheading. So one thing I'll note here, I'll mention here that the onboarding UI, onboarding steps, basically these looks good with great selection of images. These photos, these make this app onboarding look good. So I could not find other images. I'm using these images. Maybe you can play around with these and you can change the images, and then your onboarding UI that will look a lot better. So maybe so I'm going to push this code to my GitHub. I'm going to link this in my description and pinned comment, so you can check out from there and you can change the images and then play around with it. Okay, so let's create a model for that. So we could simply use a record for this, public record, and let's call it onboarding model. It will have one image, then heading, and then a description. And maybe this description we can have it in the label. So if we did not provide anything, then it should also work. After that, let's create a view model for this. So I'm not using community toolkit, so I'm going to, because it is a simple demo and the class is only one class, so we can use this directly, but you feel free to use community toolkit for this. So let's call it onboarding VM only, and it will have properties for, first thing, it will have the all these steps. So let's have a observable collection, observable collection, of type this onboarding model, and we'll call it let's call it onboarding steps. Fine. What is the issue with observable collection onboarding model? Which namespace it is coming from? Observable collection. The spelling is right, right? Okay, so let's use it using system.collections dot. It comes from object model. Yeah, it comes from object model. So we have these onboarding steps, and apart from this, what else we need? So we need to indicate somehow that we are on the last step. So for that we'll use a property, let's say bool, which is last step. Okay, fine. And we need to notify the changes in these properties. So let's use I notify property changed interface. I notify property changed. It comes from, I don't know what is happening. It is not importing and not showing suggestions for namespaces. Okay, it comes from system dot component model. Let's implement the interface. So it gives us this property changed event handler. Now we need to trigger this event whenever there is any change for this, let's say the last step. So for that, first thing, let's move it to the top, and then last step, let's change it to a full property. So we will have a private bool is last step, and we'll use this in this getter, and then for the set method, let's change it to body, and then we will check if is last step is not equals value. If we have actually changed the value, then we'll set its last step to value, and we will notify that this property has been changed. So for that, we'll simply use property changed dot invoke, and then we'll say this is the sender and new property changed event args, and for this we could use is last step this. So using this, we'll be able to notify that this property has been changed. So, and we are going to have an opposite property for this. For that, let's have a bool, and let's have it as computed property, which says is not a last step, which will be the opposite of is last step. So whenever we are changing this thing, this is last step, at the same time we will notify that this property also has been changed. Let me minimize this as we are working on code right now. Okay, so let me copy this line and paste this, and this time we would tell that is not last step, this property has also been changed. Fine. After that, we have these two properties. Now I need to get the images. Before that, yeah, let me copy the images. So I'm going to copy images to the resources folder and this images folder. Let me copy the images offline. So I have added these images and I have named these img 1 2 3 4 5. And now for this onboarding steps, let's have a default value, and then I'm going to add the constructor, default constructor for this, and in this default constructor I'm going to load this. So add, we'll have new onboarding model, and this model, first thing, it needs an image, so we could give img1, and next thing is heading and then description. So let me write these. I have added this data, and one thing to note here, img 1 2 3, all these three are without any extension. Then on img4 I have added this .jpg, and 5 is again without extension. So if you look into the resources, this left section, so we have all these images are png, only img4 is jpg. So how .NET MAUI uh, handles images, it can handle png and svgs without extension. It is going to use png internally, but for jpg it works on Android, but it does not work on iOS. So that's why I explicitly added .jpg here, so it will work on both the platforms. So I guess we are done with our view model, we are done with our model. So first thing, let's create a new folder here, add a new folder, let's call it view models, and then move this onboarding VM to this view model folder, create a new class, empty class, and name it onboarding VM, create, go back and copy this. Let's copy both of these, cut, and then come here and add this, and we should be good now. Fine. Next thing is here, let's create a private read-only onboarding VM type property, and it will come from, no, not onboarding, somehow my VS, maybe I was updating it, so maybe update is in progress, that's why it is acting weird, but that's fine. So onboarding VM, it will come from onboarding MAUI dot view models. So let's call it view model only, and we'll have this view model as, I'm not using dependency injection, feel free to use dependency injection for this, so I'm using this only. And then the next thing is, let me move it to down, and then let me set the binding context for this page to this view model. So we are good with, okay, we can remove these two, we don't need these now. We are good with server side code, I guess. Now let's move to the XAML page. So, but before that, let's run this, then we'll see the design in real time. Okay, so app is here. So first thing, we don't need this home, this navbar. So let's remove this. So we'll say navbar is visible to false. It's gone. The next thing is, let's have a grid, and it will have two columns, star and auto. Column definitions, star and auto, and not column, row definitions. Yeah, row definitions. And the next thing is we'll use carousel view. So for this carousel view, it behaves the architecture, the structure of this is same like collection view, almost similar to collection view, but we can have that horizontal slide view type of UI. So for carousel view, we need to set item source, and this item source we will get it from our binding. Now for this binding IntelliSense, we'll need to add our namespace. Let's call it view models. For this we'll use CLR namespace and it will come from our main onboarding MAUI dot view models. This is, then we'll set the data type for this page. It will be VM and onboarding VM. Now if we come here and now if we set binding, then we'll have our view model property. So we have is last step, we have is not last step, and we have onboarding steps. So this onboarding steps, we need this one, and let's save it so we can see something here, right? So it is onboarding model. Because we have used a C# record and it has the default toString method which simply writes this thing. So next thing is we need to design this. So we will design this using its item template. For this we'll have a data template, and this data template, the data type would be our onboarding model, this one. Now for this also we'll simply have a grid with 3 rows, one for image, one for the heading, and one for description. So for image we'll take star, and for description and the title, the heading, we'll use auto and auto. So the text will take only the height required, and apart from those two, the everything on the screen, the all remaining space, we'll give it to the first row which is going to hold the image. So grid. Now in this grid, first thing we'll need image. So let's set the source as we'll get it from binding, and for this we have this image, and let's have aspect fit this time, and this should be our first row, so row 0. Then second thing, it will going to be a label. So we'll say grid dot row 1, and a text for this will come from binding, and that is heading, and we'll set a bigger font for this, so let's say 30, and we'll make it bold, so font attributes bold, and then let's move it to center, so horizontal options set center, and vertical options again at center. and we should be good with this one. What's wrong with it? Yeah, we missed this curly braces, closing curly braces. And now we are here for our row number 3, index 2, the last row for the description. So we'll get it from binding description, and for this one we'll have a slightly smaller font. So for this we'll say font size maybe 15, and the same center, horizontal options at center and vertical options at center. So we should be good with this one. Now we save it, and if we let me rerun it. Okay, so app is here and we can move around so we can see something at least. Now let's design it further. Okay, so we are here. So first thing is we are going to show those small indicator icons which shows that we have all these number of slides and we can directly click on those to move to that particular slide. So for that it is called indicator view. So we are going to use indicator view for this carousel view. Okay, so for that let's have that inside this grid. We'll say our indicator view, and this indicator view we can specify some properties. So first thing, it could be self-closing. First thing, we need to add a name for this because we are going to use it in our carousel view. So let's call it onboarding indicator, and let me copy this name and move to the carousel view. And here we can simply define that indicator view for this one is this onboarding indicator. Okay, and what's wrong with it? Matter operation not implemented. Indicator view, we have defined it on carousel view, should work. Okay, maybe we'll need to rerun, but for now let's have it like this only, and let's onboarding indicator, right? I copied it only. Okay, fine. Next thing is we are going to add some things for this. So first one is our indicator shape. We have these two predefined shapes, circle or square. Let's have it circle. And then we can have indicator size, so it indicates the size of those circles. So let's have it 15, and then we could position these to center horizontally, and vertically let's move these to end. And then we can set the colors. So selected indicator color is the one which we are currently on, and the indicator color is the default color for all, we could say disabled, not disabled, other slides basically. So let's have it light gray. So we are done with this indicator view, and let's rerun this. App is running and we could see these little icons. So let's design these. So, and apart from this, when we move to last step, then it should show that get started button, and it should show a skip button. So for that, let's move this indicator view to vertical stack layout, and in this one first we'll have that skip button. For that, let's have a label, and this label is going, the text is going to be skip, and the text color will be something like gray, and vertical align center, and horizontal alignment, horizontal options is again center. So after that, let's make it bold as well. Font attributes bold, and we will show this only on the steps when we are not on a last step. So we could leverage is visible property, and we are going to bind this with is not last step. If it's not last step, then only it should show. And the next thing, let's have a button for the last step. So first thing, we'll set is visible only if it is last step. And then let's design this, the text, let's say get started, and then same vertical options center, horizontal options center, save it, and let's move this indicator view to this vertical stack layout only. Okay, save it, and my okay, we have this skip here. Okay, it is because we have row definition star and auto. So this carousel view, this will be on the first row, which is row 0, and this vertical stack layout, this is going to be our row number, second row, which is grid dot row 1. So we have this now skip, and after that on this one, let's add some spacing, so maybe spacing of 20. Fine. We have the skip, and we don't have the last step, and that's because, okay, but because we have not changed the last step, so by default the last step is false. So when the last step is false, is not last step is the opposite of last step, so that means this is always going to be visible on the screen. So that's why we can see the skip button. So let's design the skip button a bit. So for the skip button, let's add, okay, font attributes bold, we already have this as bold. Now next thing is, let's make it bigger, 16 or maybe 18. 18, and let's add some padding around it. So let's say 25 and 15. Fine. So we have this skip, and okay, we have all these things now. Next thing is we need to, before that, let me see. Okay, let me rerun this. App is here, we can see the skip button, we can move around, and fine. So let's design these labels again. It is not looking Good. So first thing on uh, this label, this heading label, let's add a margin and let's have it something like 10 and 25. Fine. And same goes with this description. So let's have the same margin here, 10 and 25. Fine. Next thing is on this main grid, let's have a padding of 0 and 10. Fine. So 10 or let's say 15. This is the second one. This is from top and bottom. The first one is from left and right. So from left, right, we don't need anything. From top and bottom, we need this 15. So let's save it. And we are good now. Now next thing is we need to uh, we need to modify our is last step property when we are on the last step. So for that we are going to use uh, some events on this carousel view. So we have position changed event here. Let's add a new event handler, go to this one. We are here. In this we have this e parameter. So this e is of type this and it gives us previous position, current position, previous and current position. So we can leverage this. So e dot current position, if this is equals to the last position, and last position we can get it from onboarding models as this view model dot onboarding steps dot we can get count minus 1. This is the number of steps. And if we are on the last step, the current position is the last one. If this is the case, or maybe we are going to we're checking it always. So let's say underscore view model dot is last step equals this thing, and we don't need this first one. If this is the case, so we're setting this is last step to, if this is on last step, then it will show this as last step. So we should be good now. Let's try to rerun. App is here. Let's see. We can see these. And when we are on last step, then we can see this get started. And if we move back, we are on, we can see this skip. So for this get started, let's change the appearance of this get started button. So we have this button here. Okay, so on this button, first thing is let's change the background color to black. Fine. And then text color is white already, we don't need to change it. Let's add some margin to this, let's say 25. Fine. And let's add some more padding to this. So from left and right, let's add 50. And from top bottom, 5 is fine. Yeah. So I guess this is fine, or let's increase the font size as well. Let's have something like 18. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so I think this is looking good. Now next thing is, when we click on this, it should go somewhere, right? If we are coming back, we can see the skip, and this skip label and this get started button. Both of these should behave same, because after coming to this last screen, we'll click on get started and it will lead us to the main app screen. And same will go with this skip button. When we click on this skip, then it will also skip all these onboarding steps and it will move to the main app screen. So for this, first thing, let's this label, this skip label, let's add a gesture recognizer to this. Tab gesture recognizer, and we'll use tabbed and new event handler. Let's go to this, we have it here, and the same thing we'll do with this button. So on this button we will add this pressed event handler, and we are here now. So if you look this, what I am doing, I am simply introducing myself. Hey guys, my name is Abhay Prince. Then it is welcome to my YouTube channel. So this is my YouTube channel's link, and I make coding tutorial videos, mostly mobile and web apps using .NET MAUI and Blazor on this channel. And then I'm asking you to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe my channel, and please subscribe my channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to never miss the notification of my new videos. So when we click on this get started, ideally it should go to the app, but as I'm just showcasing my YouTube channel, so I'm going to use the launcher. So I'm going to ask, when we click on this one, it will open my channel on YouTube. So we'll simply say launcher.default. We have this open async method here. So using this open async method, we can simply open any app. So it will open the URL in the system's default app, or we could say the app registered for this particular URL schema. So https this youtube.com/@Abhay Prince. So it is going to open this. So let me copy this and paste it here as well. So from both of these, from get started and from the skip button, I'm going to open this. So let me save it and then let me rerun the app. App is here. First, move to second, move to third, fourth, fifth. We can see this get started button. When we click on this, it navigated to YouTube channel in Safari. And if we go back, we are here, and if we move to the previous page and if we click on the skip, we'll go to the same thing. Let's see how is it looking in Android. So let me stop it and run it in Android. Okay, run. So now it's running on Android. We can see this, scroll around, click it. On the last step, we can see this get started button, and if we click on this get started, it is, yeah, it went to YouTube mobile app. So on this Android emulator, YouTube mobile app is already installed and it has this schema registered. So for this YouTube schema, it opens this app. So please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon. So, and you can check out my other videos as well. Okay, fine. Now let's go back, and if we move back, we have the skip button, and if we click on the skip, so it will again lead you to the same YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. So that is how you can create it. And as I mentioned earlier, these onboarding UI screens, these will look good if you have used the good looking images basically. Okay, so that's all for this video. So please like this video, share this video, and subscribe my channel, and I'll be back with another video.